In this video, I'll be running through some data showing Tesla is growing faster than any company in history. And not just a little faster, so much faster, it's shocking. What's more, this stunning rate of growth is set to continue for years to come. The world has never seen anything like this before. This video will really put things in perspective, especially for Tesla stock investors. No other company in history has done what Tesla has since IPO, and they're just getting started. So strap yourselves in and let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment theme merch in the merch store, so check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. Tesla stock closing over $1,000 per share today, up almost 2%. Just to give a little bit of perspective, it's never boring with Tesla stock, always a very bumpy ride. Over the last 6 months, we can see Tesla stock in total up over 16%, but it has, as I said, been a very bumpy ride. Tesla stock from peak to trough down almost 40% during the last 6 months. Year to date, Tesla stock down close to 20%, and the 1 year up a little over 40. Rarely a dull moment with Tesla stock. So here we are over on Bloomberg, and in an unusual turn of events, mainstream finance media having something positive to say about both Elon Musk and Tesla. Quote, "In defense of Elon Musk's managerial excellence, the Tesla CEO's track record proves he's a preeminent builder of businesses and maximizer of shareholder value. It's absolutely impossible to argue with this statement unless you're suffering from at least one of the following: brain damage, delusion, or mental illness. This is the world's best corporate manager. Hard to argue with that. For all the histrionics from the 2018 tweet considering taking Tesla private, for which he incurred a $20 million fine from the US Short Seller Enrichment Commission, also known as the Suck Elon's Cock, to smoking weed on a podcast." Let's just pause here, by the way. Let me know in the comments below if you think Elon Musk actually smoked weed on the Joe Rogan podcast. There is only one correct answer, and it's not that he smoked weed. Why am I so confident about this? As somebody who's been consuming hay bales of cannabis since, well, let's just say for a very long time, you ain't gonna get high if you don't inhale. This caused a gigantic shitstorm, but the truth is, Elon didn't even know what the fuck he was doing. Still, made plenty of headlines. And his latest foray, offering to buy Twitter for about $43 billion. Elon Musk is a pretty good business manager. In fact, the chief executive officer of the world's most valuable automaker has no equal. So far, so good. Among the 10 largest publicly traded companies, Musk's Tesla Inc. is number one in growth in the past decade, with revenue increasing more than 260-fold to $53.8 billion. Number one in the past 12 months, with sales surging 71%. Number one in share performance over 5 and 10 years, with its stock appreciating 15 and 146-fold respectively to a recent $1,000 per share, and number one in employment by more than quintupling its workforce since 2016, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. So number one in revenue growth, sales growth, stock growth, and employee growth. Is that all? And now onto Tesla's explosive growth, and warning, if you're a massive Tesla investor / nerd, this may also cause explosive growth. Don't think about that too much, just be prepared. Tesla's revenue has increased at much faster pace than the rest of the world's 5 largest companies. Talk about an understatement. Tesla here in blue, to the moon. Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, and Amazon, absolute specs. They barely register on this chart. Now, in fairness, Tesla's starting from a smaller base, but there's more than meets the eye. Take a moment. Let this picture sink in. A world ravaged by climate change, brought on in part by the overuse of fossil fuels, makes electric vehicle maker Tesla increasingly the choice of fleet operators because of the minimal fuel and maintenance costs of its zero-emission cars. Got to take a pause here. This is an extremely important point. By default, electric vehicles are far cheaper to own and operate than internal combustion engine vehicles because, yes, there are far fewer moving parts. There's almost no maintenance. Very few things moving, very few things getting worn out and breaking. In addition, it's much cheaper to recharge an electric vehicle than it is to fuel an equivalent ICE vehicle for a comparable amount of miles able to be driven. Vehicles in a business's fleet tend to do many miles per year more than an average consumer driving a vehicle for personal use. So even small cost savings compound and amplify enormously. The bigger your fleet, the more miles each vehicle is driving, the bigger the savings potential with electric vehicles. But there's a second element at play. Not all EVs are created equal. The more efficient your powertrain, The more miles you can get off the same amount of electricity, the lower your operating costs. And who has the most efficient electric vehicles in terms of kilowatts in versus miles of range out once you adjust for mass? Tesla. Meaning that if you happen to be a business that owns and operates a fleet of vehicles, not only are electric vehicles a no-brainer, but within that, Teslas are the only choice. You literally have to be an absolute moron not to opt for a fleet of Tesla vehicles. I want to underscore this point. You literally need to be a moron unless you're in the business of losing money or not saving as much as you could. Of course, there are as many clowns within the business world as outside of it, so a lot of people haven't figured this one out yet, but ladies and gentlemen, any business that operates a fleet of vehicles, whether it's 300, 3,000 or 300,000 vehicles, if they have any sense whatsoever, will hastily transition their entire fleet not only to electric vehicles, but to the most efficient electric vehicles they can buy. For a consumer, for personal use, things like aesthetics may matter a little bit more, brand, and so on. But when it comes down to business, the brass tacks, punch some numbers into a spreadsheet, do the math, oh, we should have Teslas in our fleet and nothing else. My prediction, over the coming years, we're going to see business after business, including governments, corporations, and so on, converting their entire fleets to electric, mostly Tesla, except in cases of incompetence and or corruption, or where they simply cannot take delivery of these vehicles in a reasonable time frame. That's a big reason why Austin, Texas-based Tesla sales growth will be number one next year, around 30%, and again in 2024, around 18%, according to the median estimate of 33 analysts surveyed by Bloomberg, keeping in mind, I just have to say it, most of the analysts have absolutely no idea what the they are talking about when it comes to Tesla. And despite this, the consensus still recognizes Tesla's growth is going to crush anyone else in the category. Make sure you're sitting down for this one. Among the 6 companies with at least a $1 trillion market capitalization, none achieved the milestone as quickly and stayed there as Tesla, which did it in 11 years after its IPO. It took Apple 38 years. It took Microsoft 33 years. It took Google/Alphabet 16 years and Amazon 23 years. So Tesla literally 3 times as fast to $1 trillion as Google, almost 4 times as fast as Apple, about twice as fast as Amazon. If you have a short memory or haven't been paying close attention, each of these companies are recognized widely and have been widely discussed for their stunning rates of growth. And Tesla has left them all in the dust. Facebook parent Meta reached $1 trillion 9 years after its IPO, but has since dropped back to $600 billion, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. Just a quick note on Facebook. Facebook is doomed, in my opinion. I'm telling you now. In fact, I told you back in June 2020 when I posted this exclusively to Patreon members and YouTube members, the video entitled Why I Don't Own Facebook Stock. If you haven't seen it, I recommend watching that video. I'm not surprised to see the company's valuation plummet from over $1 trillion now toward $500 billion. I think that trend over the long term is likely to continue. Since posting that video, Facebook's stock down almost 10%. Total coincidence, obviously. The stock market deems Tesla almost 4 times as valuable as the second largest automaker Toyota. And by the way, something's clearly wrong here. In my opinion, Toyota are completely and utterly fucked. Just listen to some of the statements being made by these morons, especially from the president. They have no idea what they're doing. They're still publicly saying they don't know whether or not consumers are going to want to buy electric vehicles. They're thinking about hydrogen. It's a joke. They're fucked. The fact that the stock market thinks Toyota is worth anything more than 0% of Tesla's current value, to me, is absolutely insane. Watch this space, check back in a decade, let's see what happened. And worth about 50% of the 10 biggest combined. Again, most of them going bankrupt, so this isn't really a useful metric other than just to show how fucking dumb the average stock investor is. Looked at another way, Tesla accounts for 41% of the total value of the 184 publicly traded vehicle manufacturers worldwide, most of which will be bankrupt before the decade ends. Maximizing shareholder value. Tesla's shares have gained more than 21,000% in the past decade, far exceeding the S&P 500 index's 243% increase. Obviously, Tesla in blue, S&P in black. Picture is worth 1,000 words. This chart is worth, well, about $1 trillion. And see what I did there? That was pretty dumb. Let's move on. Pretend that didn't happen. Tesla, unlike its peers, what peers? Persevered through the dislocations caused first by the pandemic and then war in Ukraine by spending years focused on shoring up its supply chain. That's a big reason why Tesla was able to report record first quarter deliveries earlier this month, despite what it called an exceptionally difficult period marked by recurring disruptions, especially the fascist shutdown of its Shanghai factory with their incredibly brain-dead COVID-0 policy. How's that going, you fucking morons? Again, I called this at the time. It's not going to work. Sure enough, didn't work. How is it that some idiot on YouTube can see this coming? Yet, city of Shanghai could not. Its success in securing materials became evident when Tesla agreed in January to purchase 75,000 metric tons. By the way, if you guys don't know what a metric ton is, 75,000 metric tons is about 1/2 of your mother of nickel concentrate, an essential ingredient in electric vehicle batteries, through a Minnesota project created by Talon Metals Corp, less than 6 months after a similar nickel supply deal with Melbourne, Australia-based mining company BHP Group. Tesla also has a multi-year supply agreement for nickel, blah blah blah, you guys get the point. Tesla's been thinking 400 steps ahead. They've been locking in ultra long-term supply contracts for materials they knew they'd need before anyone else even realized that this might be an idea. Quote, Tesla's vertical integration strategy has been critical, Cathie Wood, founder, CEO, and chief investment officer of ARK Investment Management, said in an interview earlier this month. Unlike its competitors, quote, Tesla is in control of its cars and, quote, can tweak and change, in contrast to the rest of the auto industry whose, quote, specs are put to bed, 3 to 4 years or 5 years prior, and they're not going to change. Wood, the little-known champion of Tesla when she launched her funds in 2014 and predicted a $1 trillion valuation when most analysts had sell recommendations at a minuscule fraction of its current price, sadly most of these analysts still have jobs, said the company's battery technology, quote, is about 3 years ahead of any other auto manufacturer. That's not the only reason Wood raised her target for Tesla last week to $4,600 per share in 2026. And for those who missed my breakdown of ARK's price targets, spoiler alert, in 2030, ARK Invest expecting Tesla to be well in excess of $20,000 per share. Really, not the bull case, this is their expected case. Tesla's, quote, more than 1.5 million cars on the road are effectively data collectors for Elon Musk, she said, and she's right. Quote, no other auto manufacturer has cars equipped to send back this real-world driving data. In order to compete with Tesla at, let's say, a like-for-like price, they'll either have to skimp on range and performance and rely on their brand, aka tricking 1/2 of the bell curve into buying an objectively inferior product just because they know and or like the name. Otherwise, they'll just lose money if they want to keep up with Tesla at the same price. She's right. And guess how this ends? They don't keep up with Tesla. They go bankrupt. It will take a while, but this is how things play out. No one's catching Tesla. They're too far ahead, and they're moving faster than anybody else. Sure enough, Tesla's 2021 revenue of $53.8 billion accounts for 20% of the entire EV market and 80% of the world's 6 EV-only automakers, which in my opinion are the only relevant comparisons. You guys know what happened to horses with the advent of the automobile, right? If you don't, we ended up eating them and using them as pet food because no one was using them for transportation anymore. People don't seem to get this yet, especially the automakers, who some of them still think they'll be making ICE vehicles 15 years from now. Quote, Tesla is mostly maintaining their market share even as the overall EV market grows very rapidly. In addition to its incomparable real-world driving data and battery technology, Tesla has an artificial intelligence chip, quote, that no one else has, said Wood. And we liken this barrier to entry to Apple's barrier to entry when it created the chip for the smartphone. Tesla's fourth advantage is that, quote, Elon describes Tesla as a manufacturer of factories, with plants in Fremont, California, Austin, Shanghai, and Berlin. With each factory, Tesla becomes more efficient and more productive, said Wood. It is from the bottom up constructing these highly automated factories, more automated than anyone else's in the world. Too often, Elon Musk makes the news for the wrong reasons, giving his detractors a steady stream of fodder to use against someone they say is little more than a self-absorbed corporate carnival barker. Musk's success as a preeminent maximizer of shareholder value proves otherwise. Overall, I thought this was a great article, one, because it's reasonable, accurate, and actually attached to reality versus most of the steaming piles of intellectual excrement being published by most of the mainstream finance media outlets regarding Tesla and Elon Musk, and it highlights Tesla's ridiculous rate of growth. No company on earth ever growing at this rate in a sustainable fashion, and Tesla's still just getting started. The only thing growing faster than Tesla and your mother is, of course, the number of people I've offended in the short lifetime of this YouTube channel, one of my finest achievements. One of the most common and major errors stock investors are making when analyzing and assessing Tesla's future prospects is, 1, disengaging their brain, and then reasoning by analogy. Nothing's ever grown this fast before. It's not possible that it can keep growing this fast. Then, of course, you've also got the dum-dums who say, well, no company's ever reached 3 trillion. There's no way Tesla could get to 5 or 10 or 20 trillion. Instead of thinking from first principles, they're just looking around for examples of having seen this happen before. This is what happens when you don't use your brain. Remember, if ARK Invest are right, based on their own conservative estimates, Tesla's going to be close to a $5 trillion company around mid-decade. And by the end of this decade, more than $20 trillion. This has never happened before, not even close. For context, today Apple at $2.69 trillion, Amazon a little over $1.5 trillion in value. Of course, I personally believe ARK Invest are going to be wrong. I think Tesla's going to be far more valuable than this at the end of the decade. We'll just have to wait and see. Hope you guys and girls have enjoyed the video, and don't forget to join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment to gain instant access to my Tesla stock price targets all the way out till 2031. You'll see exactly why I'm talking this company up so much and why I think there's so much room to go. Plus, you'll gain access to well over 100 exclusive Q&A videos on every topic you can imagine, plus loads of other perks. So, I'll see you over there. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.